What is chopsolidation? Consolidation plus chopsolidation. And when will we finally get past $111,000 and leave it behind for good? Well, I don't know, but let me tell you how to think about it. Okay, so chopsolidation is a combination of the word chop, which is when people describe stocks or bonds or commodities or real estate or whatever. Actually, not real estate because it's usually not liquid, but basically anything that trades on a market where you can watch the price go up and down in real time. Chop is what it's called when it's chopping sideways, meaning it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. It looks like a W, then it looks like an M, then it looks like a W, then it looks like an M, and everybody is just, it's a market that wears you out and scares you out because people just get sick of it. It's so boring to be back at $107,000 for Bitcoin, then up to $114,000. There's hope. Nope, back to $111,000. Now down to 107. Now up to 114. Nope, back to 111. It just wears you out and scares you out. But chopsolidation is a term, I think it was invented by James Check, my favorite Bitcoin analyst, to describe what Bitcoin has been doing. Now, Bitcoin has only been doing this the last few years. Prior to 2023, there was not really chopsolidation in Bitcoin. Well, let me explain the word consolidation first. Consolidation is a very common term in any market that describes when the price is essentially compressing around a single point. That every time it tries to rise, there are sellers that push it back down, and every time it tries to fall, there are buyers that push it back up, and it's called consolidation. So because people talk about chop and they talk about consolidation, James Check combined the two into chopsolidation. And the last 3 years in Bitcoin, we've seen a lot of chopsolidation. Typically, there's been at least 3 periods in the last 3 years where the chopsolidation lasted for at least 7 or 8 months. That was back in 2023, 2024, and 2025. Each of those years had periods lasting as long as 8 months where the price just seemed to be going nowhere. Again, it will wear you out. It will scare you out. And the price does that because once it starts to hover around a focal point for reasons that have nothing to do with probably anything relevant, people start deciding, hey, maybe this is as high as it's going. So if it starts going higher, sellers are like, I better get off because it might not go much higher. But then when it starts to go down, buyers are like, ooh, this might be the bottom. Maybe we're just consolidating right here before the next leg up. So you get a lot of that. And for, again, just the reasons of human, behavior, you get these consolidation patterns, which the chop plus the consolidation is chopsolidation. So when you get these patterns, sometimes you get stuck for a while and it wears you out and it scares you out and everybody gets bored and everybody's annoyed and it feels like you've been here forever. And typically that happens before a big leg up. So back in 2023, the price was about 28,000. We spent about 7 months, between 7 and 8 months, within 10% of $28,000. And it felt just like this. Everybody was tired of $28,000. Why could we not get more than 10% away above or below $28,000? We just spent like 7 or 8 months there. In 2024, the price was 64. So 28. Then the price went relatively quickly from 28,000 to between 55,000 and 70,000. And the midpoint where the price chopsolidated for more time than any other price was 64,000. We spent more time within 10% of $64,000 than within 10% of any other number in 2024. Again, it was 8 months. And believe me, I was recording videos almost every day, the entirety of that 8 months. And it sucks when the price just feels like it's going nowhere. And you're pumping out video after video after video telling everybody, hey, just be patient. We'll get there. It's only a matter of time until the buyers exhaust the sellers and we're up and to the right, which of course eventually happened. And, everybody that owns $64,000 Bitcoin or anything near it, above or below, is pretty happy up here at $111,000. Well, here we are again. The last time I ran all the numbers, the focal point was around $107,000, but I think it's a little higher now because more time has passed and we've spent more time above 107 than below. So I'm going to run an updated analysis. I don't know what it is now, but whatever that number is, we have been in the ballpark. Maybe it's 111. Let's assume when I run the analysis, it's 111. Well, we're going to spend as much time here, just like the video I just did about the elevator. If you want to go find that, search for the word elevator on my Facebook page, or if you're doing this in the future, not today, search on my YouTube channel for the word elevator, and it'll explain that. And again, it's all these people mashing the green buttons and the red buttons, wanting the elevator to go up versus down, and how fast they mash and how hard they mash and how many people are mashing all determines what happens with the price. So right now at 111,000, that's where we are. Now, the good news is we've been in this ballpark of, 10% above to 10% below a total of about 8 months. And the good news is that 8 months is behind us. And typically, the longer you're at a price like that, the more you've sort of exhausted, as James Check calls it, you've chopped enough wood. At some point, you've just chopped enough wood, and everybody who wants to get off has gotten off the elevator. Everybody who wants to get on has gotten on the elevator, and it's time. Finally, it is go time. So I think we're getting close to that. Every time it seems like we're finally done with it, somehow we're back to chopping wood. So I don't know when we will finally finish being done with this phase. James Check, what do you call it? One of the analysis that James Check runs is called the choppiness index, which monitors that. It monitors how long we've been stuck in a general price range, because the longer you're stuck in that range, typically the more violent the price move is once you exit the range. Now, it doesn't always happen that you exit to the upside. You could exit to the downside temporarily before you ultimately exit to the upside. You don't know. It depends on if you run out of buyers or sellers first, but the buyers always eventually outrun the sellers. It's just a matter of time. But anyway, if you're sick of this consolidation, chopsolidation, choppiness, etc., just be glad that it does this instead of what Bitcoin used to do. Prior to 2023, Bitcoin was almost exclusively going up or down. It was not staying in the same place. So, in a given day, you would have swings of 10%, 20%. One swing in 2021, which was the day that I made my single largest purchase of Bitcoin in my life, in a single day, the price went as low as $30,000 and as high as $42,000. There was literally, I think, a 42% difference between the lowest price and the highest price in a day. That is a radical, talk about volatility. So thankfully, Bitcoin does not really do that anymore. It still goes up and down, and some of the downs can be, scary for those who have not been around for a while, or are new to Bitcoin. But they don't look anything the way they used to. It used to be, if it wasn't going up, it was going down. And then as soon as it stopped going down, it was going back up. And talk about a roller coaster ride. It is a lot easier to handle a roller coaster that goes sideways sometimes than one that's always going up or down, but never sideways. So we are in chopsolidation mode. That is where we are. We've been here long enough. I'm tired of it. I'm sure you're tired of it. Eventually, the buyers will outnumber and overwhelm the sellers, and we will be off to the races. We could dip before that happens. I don't know. But that is what chopsolidation is, and I think we're all tired of it. And at some point in the future, I will post this video, and people will be thinking 111,000, wow, that's cheap. Because I'll post it when Bitcoin is at a price significantly higher than this, and people will be thinking, wow, I wish I had bought Bitcoin at $111,000, just like they're saying, I wish I had bought it at $64,000 for 8 months when I could have, or at $28,000 for 8 months when I could have back in 2023. Eventually, the same, everybody will be talking about, whether anybody bought Bitcoin in 2025 around $111,000, and everybody will be wishing they had. And those days are coming. It's just a matter of time.